Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Shane. So in this video, I want to cover a couple things going forward, including, just major Bitcoin movement, over the last 24 hours, and what I expect in the very short term, going into the midterm, medium term, and even obviously in the long term. But I also want to cover my thoughts regarding us moving forward in this bull run from current levels around 56K all the way into, new highs, brand new major levels across the board, right? So let's get into it. We're going to start with Bitcoin because, this chart has looked, again, I personally was not expecting turbo nukes across the board for everything, right? But on the daily here, with a huge candle, came down obviously yesterday, right? But got bought up. Today's candle has been holding. So for the first 48 hours here, this was actually a pretty good show out right here. The fact that it's kind of holding this previous level. Again, it's only 2 days out. I expect a lot of chop continuing from here, literally for the next at least week going forward. Maybe in the very, very short term, a couple days, kind of consolidates, but I think that we're going to loom around this area. I'd say in between maybe 52, 53K, upwards of maybe 56 to 58. In this, I'm going to call it just a range. I think in this general range, we're probably going to sit and bounce around and bounce. Granted, we do not have more downside, because if we do have more downside, then I expect price is probably not going to stay in this range. It's probably going to rotate and go for another nosedive, and just continue down. Maybe it goes a little bit lower. But either way, looking at the RSI, it already has bounced here. We might get another double bounce on the RSI. And again, this is on a daily chart, so it's a very long-term outlook with this. But that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. I think there's going to just be chop for the next few days, upwards of a week, week and a half, until the Fed here really decides to do something, really catalyze the market to make it, to incentivize the market to move one way or the other. I don't even know if that's a word, catalyze. I don't know why I just used that. But what I meant to say is if there are actual catalysts that can make the market decide which way it wants to move, up or down, Because right now I still feel like we're kind of just sitting, waiting for something to happen, even though obviously this just happened. But now it's, we're waiting for huge news to just start making this really start to rip, or we're just going to chop sideways, slowly trickle up, chop sideways a little bit, maybe have one more bounce, or, we could just nuke straight down. So, again, I think it's a great time to be looking into entries across the board for some of your favorite coins. Obviously for me, I have rotated and moved a lot into meme coins. And that's also what I wanted to talk about with, the rest of this video. So, I'm going to close this out. So I'm going to make a video tomorrow talking about a ton of strong altcoins that are not meme coins, that I do think I have a ton of potential going forward. But for the time being, pull up Deck Screener. I think from the current leg that we're at in this market, going forward into the next leg that we have, maybe this is the real major start of the bull run, right? I want to show you guys something, because I guarantee if you guys are on crypto Twitter every day, you may have seen something already. So I follow Ben Simpson AU. Now this is Ben Simpson, very smart man. A lot of his takes, he has a lot of very good information, a lot of stuff on his Twitter that I like. And this is something that I saw. I've kind of seen this, I think, on a couple different people on Twitter. But he's kind of comparing this initial, dump phase, kind of to where COVID-19 crash was, right? And you can kind of look at it. It does seem like it's somewhat similar, at least based on price action. Had some big moves in candles, sideways, big moves, candles, sideways, another big move up. Like, this is like an exact, yeah, literally as close as you could probably get in price action of this area here. And then this was in 2019, this was 2020. And then, from here, obviously, strong recovery into, break retest, and then into what? Huge leg up, right? Again, this was many months. Here that we're at a different time frame for it, but again, price action, it does resemble this very much so. It's pretty interesting. He says, this whole correction feels like a repeat of COVID 2020 crash. Whales are now buying the dip, big ETF inflows today, rates come down, money printers fire up again. So this really could be a potential bottom. And again, I take everything I see with a grain of salt in this market, guys. But again, I trust this man's takes a lot. And, I just wanted to show one other perspective, because I thought that was pretty interesting when I saw it today. But going forward, guys, Solana ETH. I want to talk about the retail sentiment when it starts to come, because this is the main thing I wanted to talk about. So we're going to go to CoinGecko and just look at Bitcoin again. Because again, in my personal opinion, I think there is going to be drastic there's going to be drastic price action at some point in the future. But, when it comes to this cycle, let's say we're just looking at the cycle that we're in now, I think from the current leg that we're in into where we're headed, oh my god, I can't even talk, bro. In the current leg that where we're headed, in comparison to where we were in 2023 to now, I think, the kind of market participants, the kind of people that are going to be kind of leading this next leg up is going to be a little bit different than, this previous run. Because down here, I know for a fact 95% of retail participants were not buying the market down here. I feel like it was a lot of late crypto participants catching a lot of this, catching a ton of these run-ups, and obviously the ETH ETF hypes, or not ETH, the Bitcoin ETFs hype kind of, coincided with all of that, right? Like, that's mainly why a lot of the price action moved, and a bunch of other factors too. But when it comes to from now going forward, I think definitely is going to be very similar in a sense of who's going to be here buying. But I think to make the next leg up really happen, there's going to be a need for a ton of, retail participants to start jumping into the market again. I don't think it's going to be a full necessity, but, as Bitcoin price starts to move up, I think a lot of retail investors or, people that just don't know anything about crypto, they know very little. Maybe they're in the market before. They're starting to see FOMO again because Bitcoin is climbing, making God candles yet again, and they're missing out, right? I think the next leg up is also going to be driven heavily by retail in comparison to this leg up, right? So my thoughts have been, how are you, or not even just you, but anyone in general, how are you positioning yourself for the next, I don't know what you want to call it, like the next wave of investors that are going to come into this market? Again, granted that this bull run does happen, granted that we do start to move up and climb over the next 3 months, because there are potential risks as well. But again, I'm a firm believer that this cycle is completely not over at all. This is the first major dip that we've had. Going forward, we still just had the literal Bitcoin halving, like right around here, guys. If you look at last cycle, I always forget in the last cycle when the Bitcoin halving was. I think it was May in 2020. But look at like where in time was from May from May to November basically. May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 7 months from the halving is when we really started to see some sort of movement to the upside. We halved in April. It's only August, so it's been not even 4 months yet, almost 4 months. There is still a lot of time if we're going to literally play the cycle out based on similar time frames, which I initially did not think about in the past. But anyways, I kind of went off a tangent. But the thing is when we start to see this next leg up, again, it's gonna be a lot of retail driven, you know, and that's where I've been thinking, where is retail 100% going to focus? Obviously, I think most of it actually is going to come down to, a lot of influencers and what they talk about, certain coins like that, because I always think about, if people don't know anything about crypto, where are they going to go to learn a lot of their stuff? I'd say at least 50 to 60, 70% of people, if not maybe more, they're going to probably go to YouTube. That me personally, if I ever in my past the last 5-10 years, if I ever needed to learn something, I went straight to YouTube, right? So I think for a lot of retail, they're going to be looking into YouTube and YouTubers and what coins they're talking about. And then a lot of them, a lot of people as well are going to be jumping onto crypto, Twitter. They're going to start to realize that, Twitter in and of itself, outside of all these meme posts about their favorite celebs, it's an entire financial ecosystem. It's a whole attention economy, literally just on a social media app, right? I think they're going to realize that, but what narratives and stuff are they going to be looking at? Because I think many of them at this point, especially the younger generation, they might not have the attention span like, a lot of older people, even including myself. I feel like my attention span is still pretty solid for what it is, but definitely with TikTok and all this brain rot, you know what I mean? So I think, I personally think that meme coins are going to be a major narrative going forward, continuing from this point. And again, the main reason why is because it's so easy for someone to look at a meme coin and decide they want to buy. There's no promises of this and that. You don't got to deal with all these awful tokenomics and worry about all these little minor details, when people are looking into projects and stuff like that, right? It's a lot easier for someone to just buy into an animal coin or something like that. That they think is cool, they think is funny, they think is cute, whatever. That's like a huge thesis. It's very simple. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure everyone can think. You can kind of think that through. Meme coins at a minimum are going to be, I would say, one of the top narratives going forward. Whether people like it or not. I firmly believe that. And I think too, the reason why I'm so strung up on culture coins too and cult like coins is because a lot of the newer generation, I feel like, is very, I mean, they're very driven by a lot of what's, happening day to day with their own, the youth culture, whatever you want to call it. They and a lot of coins that are based on like current day memes that a lot of these younger kids, and and I don't mean younger like super young, but anyone from 14, 15, upwards of 20, 21, 22, right, 23. A lot of these people, again, if they're not really in crypto, but they're on TikTok, they're on these Instagram, like they got a curated feed of some of their favorite meme creators and whatever. They're going to see a lot of these memes that literally have tokens, like Hammy is a token. As simple as that, Hammy's like all over. I don't know if it's Instagram or TikTok, But I think a lot of people will look at Hammy. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I've seen that on TikTok 500 times." And it's as simple as that, and they're gonna want to buy into it. Like little things like that, and I think that's why cult coins too are going to be one that really resonate with people because it's the same thing. It's not just an animal they're seeing. Like the token aura or Mog. Mog is a very prominent word, phrase with the young generation right now. You know, anyone in that age range, they know what these words are. They know what this stuff is, right? I think like even aura. Aura is a great one. That's a super common word, and it's a great coin in my opinion. But things like that. That's where I've really been thinking as far as when retail really would come. It's like where are they going to be really, like, I guess kind of aiming their focus, right? And again, even for me, like main reason why I love Retardio too is Retardio to me is just so almost anti-culture. It's just to me it's just way different, right? There's really just not any sort of community out there like Retardio. Obviously, you got Milady and Remilio, right? But Retardio, they've just been doing their thing. But that's kind of what I wanted to bring up. Just talk about when retail comes. What is going to happen. How is this next leg up going to look? And like I just said, I think meme coins are going to be a top narrative going forward. I think a lot of the best performing memes also are not just going to be the ones that crypto Twitter resonates with the most. It's going to be memes that, normies actually resonate with the most as well. So it's things like that just to think about going forward in your investment thesis when you're jumping into certain coins. But outside of that, I think AI as well is going to be a massive narrative too. I think it's important to focus on coins right now, that are just very strong, very good quality. Because once it's already determined that a coin's got that quality, there's just a lot of great factors behind it. It's going to be a lot easier for someone new investing in, some brand new coins to them that they don't know anything about it. They don't even understand blockchain tech like that. For them to just know that, people more experienced are all kind of claiming that this token is very solid, the team's good, this and that, right? Things like that are going to be a good sign for a lot of people to be jumping into AI and different utility coins, right? And especially gaming too. Gaming will have its time. I think AI as well, AI gaming, probably going to be the two biggest utility narratives in my opinion going forward. Um, but outside of that, that's just those are just some simple thoughts I've been having over the last few days. I mean, and just the retail thesis, I've been thinking about that for 6 months now. But that's what I wanted to cover today. Just a lot of different thoughts, really just flowing in my head left and right all day today. But I just wanted to get that out. So again, I appreciate you guys watching. I wasn't gonna drop too many tokens, but tomorrow I do want to make a video talking about a ton of strong utility coins, that I'm personally looking at, personally watching. Maybe, just going over a little bit of a deep dive for a bunch of coins as well. Because I do feel like when I bring up a lot of coins often on the channel, I don't really go into sometimes even what the coin is. I feel like I almost expect people to know what it is, but, that's obviously not the case. I should be educating you guys on certain coins that I'm talking about, right? So that's what I want to do tomorrow and probably maybe the day after that. Just go on showing you guys some of the coins that I constantly talk about. And, from there, we'll just take it. Or we'll take it from there. If I can talk. So outside of that, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.